Hello and welcome to Found in the Underground, the show where trend meets tradition. Today the team and I are heading to Central Asia and turning Japanese. As usual, we've a great show lined up. We've a jam-packed arts desk telling you all about the best Japanese cartoons, music and fashion, and a brilliant interview with Paula Kelly, who's going to tell us everything we need to know about life in Japan. But before all that, it's off to the Language Lab to join Andrea and Sandra for another edition of Learn a Language.
Welcome to this week's Learn a Language. Today I'll be teaching you 15 words of basic Japanese, or Nihongo as they say in Japan. I'm joined as always by the wonderful assistant Sandra.
Hello.
Japanese is a language learned by 130 million people worldwide. This makes up a large percentage of the world's population, so it's well worth your time listening to what we say and picking up on the words we teach you. Let's start with the basics. If you wish to greet someone in Japan, you could start with konnichiwa, which means hello.
Konnichiwa.
You could also say aheo, which means good morning.
Aheo.
Or konbanwa, which means good evening.
Konbanwa.
This all depends on the time of day, however. If you wish to elaborate the conversation you were having with someone, you could say odenki desu ka, which means how are you?
O genki desu ka?
The traditional response for this is genki desu, which translates to English as I'm fine or I'm well.
Genki desu.
So Sandra, let's practice having a conversation in Japanese. Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
Odenki desu ka?
Genki desu. O genki desu ka?
Genki desu. Perfect. If the person you're talking to is a person you're meeting and talking to for the first time, you may wish to tell them you're pleased to meet them. Hajime mashite. Dozo yoroshiku.
Hajime mashite. Dozo yoroshiku.
You also may wish to tell them your name. Watashi no name wa Andrea.
Watashi no name wa Sandra.
At the end of a conversation, you should finish up by saying sayonara, which means goodbye.
Sayonara.
You could also use a slang term, siya, which in Japanese is called matinee.
Matinee.
Manners are very important in Japanese conversation. 2 words to help you with this are please and thank you. In Japanese, please is onigai shimasu.
Onigai shimasu.
And thank you is arigato.
Arigato.
2 other important words to learn are yes and no. In Japanese, yes is hi.
Hi.
And lia is no.
Lia.
It's also important to have an opinion in Japan. 2 words often used by Japanese youth are cool and cute. If you want to say cool, you say zugoi.
Zugoi.
And cute is kawaii.
Kawaii.
Let's sum up on everything we learned today. Konnichiwa means hello.
Ohayo is good morning.
Konbanwa is good evening.
If you want to say how are you should say o genki desu ka?
The response for this is genki desu, which means I'm fine.
Hajime mashite. Dozo yoroshiku means nice to meet you.
And watashi no name wa means my name is.
At the end of the conversation, you should say sayonara, which means goodbye.
Or your other choice is to say matinee, which means see ya.
Onegashimasu means please.
And arigato is thank you.
If you want to say yes, you should say hi.
And lia means no.
Ko means, soi means ko.
And kawaii is cute. That's all we have time for in today's show, but thank you very much for tuning in and we hope you've picked up a few words of Japanese. Next week you have to join us on the show where me and Sandra will be learning Spanish, but for now it's sayonara. Back to you in the studio, Catherine.
Sayonara.
Konnichiwa. I think my Japanese has definitely improved after that. If you'd like to hear the Learn a Language Japanese version again, why not log onto our website at foundintheunderground.com, where you can download today's edition as a podcast for your MP3 player, just to make sure you remember everything you learned from today's show. Now it's time for this week's interview. Let's go and meet Aoife, who's joined with our special guest Paula.
Arigato, Catherine. Today I'm talking to Paula, an 18-year-old student, about her strong interest in Japanese culture. Hi Paula, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
So Paula, how did you first get attracted to Japanese culture?
Well, I guess it probably started when I was really younger, and I was obsessed with the Hello Kitty.
Yeah.
We used to go away with my family and there'd just be I'd get everything Hello Kitty I could find on the continent, and then it came back here and it kind of gotten bigger, and so
yeah.
I had everything. And then I suppose the Pokemon thing came out when we were in about 5th class or that. So everyone was obsessed with it for about a year. And that's all we did was swap Pokemon cards at lunchtime and that at school. And then a few years later, the Memoirs of a Geisha came out, and so the book and the film and that were amazing. And that sort of brought up back in the interest, and I was just fascinated by everything.
Yeah. And would you say that Japan interests a lot of Irish people?
Yeah, I do think that like a lot of young people are interested in it, especially because the kind of Gwen Stefani has like the Harajuku girls and like the fashion trends. You do kind of see like some of the like skirts and like the like accessories that are being worn at the moment.
Yeah. And do you have much experience with like Japanese music or Japanese cuisine?
Well, I do actually have like the cuisine experience at the moment because I'm working in a sushi bar, Yo Sushi, down in Dundrum.
Oh, right, yeah.
And yeah, so that's really good. And actually, the sushi bar looks like something out of Tokyo. And there's a few more around city centre. The music side of it, I'm into kind of bands like Hanoi Rock and the 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
But I haven't really found that other ones that like appeal to me.
And would you recommend Japan as a holiday destination?
Yeah, I definitely would. I've been there twice. Once when I was like younger, and then I went about 2 or 3 years ago as well with my family. And it's just amazing the difference in culture and lifestyle. It's like it's just such a good experience.
And the Harajuku way of dressing is quite extreme. Do you ever think it'll catch on over here?
I think it has caught on in a certain way, and but it hasn't caught on fully. Like you do see kind of like the trends in London, in like Camden Market and around Temple Bar and that, because things are sold in George Street Arcade and Temple Bar.
All right. And are there any Japanese products that you have an interest in?
I
know you said a few already, but like
like the Hello Kitty and like the Pokemon are just like a bit of an obsession.
Yeah.
And then I think at the moment I'm really into anime and manga, cartoons and comic books. And like if you go to Forbidden Planet on the Keys, and they have really good comic books and that. And Easton's have a few as well. Yeah.
And finally, Paula, did you know that karaoke was invented in Japan?
Yeah, I did actually. I was told that this morning. The guy who invented it doesn't get any royalties or like recognition for it. So.
Well, I'm afraid that's all we have time for today. Thanks for coming in to talk to us. And back to you, Catherine.
Thanks, Aoife. That was really interesting. And a big thank you also to Paula for coming onto the show today. I'm sure you guys at home really liked what she had to say. Now, remember earlier on I promised you a jam-packed arts desk? Well, it's coming your way right now, so stay tuned. Konnichiwa, Lisa.